What's good, fans? Thank you guys for tuning in to Voice of the Fans podcast. This is your man Cam. We got my man Cleveland up in the Northwest. Look like he's rocking the Los Angeles Rams blue and gold today.
No. This is the Seattle Mariners Sunday throwback colors.
The Sunday throwback.
Mariners only 2.5 back in the wild card. I don't know if you knew.
2.5 back from what? 500? 2.5 out of 500?
No. From being in the wild card, so being in the playoffs, basically. 2.5 games back.
Fans, take note of this. It's July 14th. This is week 147 of the Voice of the Fans podcast, and the Mariners are 2.5 games back. And let's see if they finish double digits back by the time the playoffs is over. Or no, let's not even get to that far. By the time the month is over, let's see if they're even this close by the time the month is over. Want to thank you guys once again for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. This is week 147, Cleveland. 147. We halfway through the year, July 14th, 2021. With that being said, we're going to go and use number 14 as we do our numbers and the number 47. So, Cleveland, when you think of the number 14, who first come to your mind or who wore that number best?
You know, for some reason, Cam, the orchestrator of the Air Coryell offense is coming to my mind. Dan Fouts.
Dandy Dan, yes.
At 14, who wore it best is certainly Charlie Hustle, Pete Rose, but for some reason, Dan Fouts is coming to mind.
Oh, you didn't mention Bob Cousy? I mean, you was so big on Cousy last week.
Oh, with the NBA championships? So sorry. Yeah, I didn't mention him, but, you know, the greatest hitter of all time, I think, is, who wore it best. So.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. What do we have when we think of the number 47? Who comes to your mind first when we think of that number?
Man, who comes to mind first is the playmaker from the University of Miami who wore it in college.
Good call.
Big Michael Irvin. I mean,
yeah, good call right there.
Probably wore it the best, but who wore it the best in the pros? I think we're going to have to defer to Mel Blount being in the Hall of Fame.
Michael's in the Hall of Fame too now.
He is, but not for the number 47. So if we're just sticking strictly with that, I have to say Mel Blount wore it better in the pros.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that one at all. I had Mel Blount wearing number 47. Number 14, I could have went Ernie Banks, but Pete Rose, I think, is everybody's favorite. I did too think of Dan Fouts and that tight spiral that he threw. But I think it was Pete Rose and then Mel Blount. I agree with you on that one. As far as let's get into our NBA topics, man. Is there something you want to get off your chest?
First and foremost, I don't know if you heard this, Cameron, but Steve Ballmer became the 9th human being in the history of planet Earth to surpass the 100 billion mark. So I just want to say to Mr. Ballmer and Clipper Nation and all Clipper fans out there, if anything that I have said over the course of our show, Voice of the Fans, has offended you in any way, shape, or fashion, I just simply want to make the record clear. It is strictly banter back and forth between myself and Cameron Buford. I don't want you to use your hundreds of billions of dollars in a negative way, affecting the show.
Oh my goodness!
No, personally, I know how easily you can do that, Mr. Ballmer.
Oh my goodness gracious!
I know a lot of the rhetoric probably sounds very derogatory. However, that was not ever the intention. And now that you have surpassed the 100 billion mark, I just simply want to make it understood that it was all in this.
Oh my goodness gracious!
God bless.
I don't think he's buying that from you one bit. I don't think he's buying that from you one bit at all. No, No.
God, God bless Mr. Palmer. Just saying.
Oh, hey, Steve, don't listen to him. I know you time to time you watch the show, you have people feeding you the links to the show so you can see it, Steve. Do not buy that at all. If he was sensitive about that, Steve, he wouldn't have bring up
Steve, it was never, Mr. Palmer, it was never
he,
personal or
he,
intentional. I'm
he would
just
have never
saying.
mentioned he would have never mentioned this recent
Congratulations on
accomplishment.
surpassing the $100
He,
billion
oh my
mark.
goodness. If this was sincere, Steve, I mean, I don't got to tell you this, but if he was sincere, Steve, he wouldn't have never mentioned this new accomplishment. He'd just say, "Hey, what's up, Steve? I'll see you when I see you." But this guy, your fellow University of Washington, I told Steve, don't even let him go down the hill. Put up a sign that says, "You're not welcome to Montlake," for this guy.
Mr. Balmer, please do not listen to the rhetoric that is going
This
on.
guy
And I
says,
understand that Cameron Buford, for years now, has been one of the biggest Clipper supporter fans. And
"Oh
God
my
bless
goodness!
him for being that
Oh
guy.
my
And
goodness!
I am just saying, going
Oh my
forward,
goodness gracious!
as the show Voice of the
Oh
Fan
my goodness gracious!
continues to
I'm in tears.
evolve,
I'm
I
in tears
just
now.
hope that you understand that it is strictly competitive nature between myself and
Oh,
Cameron Buford, and
oh, this guy.
no
This.
ill intent was meant.
Oh my goodness! Hey, you should be ashamed of this ass kissing you're trying to do right now. It's not working. He's not buying it, bro. He's not buying it. Oh my goodness, that was a good
Mr.
one.
Baumeier, I hope you certainly understand where it is that I'm coming from. And
Oh my goodness,
if
he don't.
not, please feel
He
free
don't.
to hit me on Instagram or Twitter. I'm available anytime.
What is it? Let them know. Let the rest of the fans know where
Oh,
they are.
at Clevie Wonder on Twitter and Clevon Steele on Instagram.
And fans, be sure to share any of these links for
And
the
Mr.
past
Baumeier, I
year and a half.
sincerely apologize if I offended you in any way, shape, form, or fashion over the years of the voice of the fans.
Oh my goodness gracious! He don't want to get wiped off the map.
You have
He
a good
don't.
a chance as anyone is winning the championship next
Oh,
year. And
oh.
I wish you all the best of luck.
Steve, don't listen to this crap, Steve. Do not listen to this crap whatsoever. You're a smarter man than that. I don't have to even tell you that. I don't even have to tell you that. This guy, oh my goodness gracious. Are you finished? Are you finished?
Yeah, I'm done for now. Yeah. I mean, I will reiterate the point,
Oh my
on
goodness.
other shows, but I'm
Goodness.
just saying, yeah, for
Goodness
sure.
gracious. Oh my goodness. So let's get into this NBA talk. Some legitimate NBA talk and this nonsense. Hey, looks like Giannis, man, over games 2 and 3. I figured they win games. The third game 2. I mean, he had a big game. Game 3, he's putting up them what your guy like to say SLN Shaq like numbers. He did that in the games 2 and 3, just looking absolutely beastrous out there, right? Um, do you have an apology to make since you're making apologies today? You got an apology to make to Mr. Giannis Antetokounmpo?
Not really. I think that would probably be in your lane with regards to how you even talking about him. He had no move. He had no presence. If he couldn't do the Euro step, I mean, there's no point in being out there on the court. I believe is what you said. Couldn't
No,
show,
no, no,
couldn't
no,
shoot free
no.
throws, and
See how you doing?
you
See
know
how you
wasn't
doing? See how you
wasn't
mixing
worth.
up the story? See how you
Excuse
mixing
me?
up the story? I said he didn't have a go to move. That's specifically what I
Okay,
said.
right.
Can he
But if he couldn't get the
develop a
Euro
go to
step
move
in,
in
he
five
was no, he
days?
was not effective. He said a bunch of derogatory bad things about Giannis, and I agreed with some of them. Um, but let's be perfectly honest, he's been the best player on the court the last 2 games.
Oh, really?
We were not expecting that. No, we
He's
were
been better.
expecting Devin Booker to be the best player on the court the last two
No,
games.
no. Only you were expecting that, buddy.
No,
Only,
no, we were all expecting that.
only you were expecting that. You and your boy Stephen A, who done stepped in it again. We'll get to that later. But only you and your boy Stephen A was expecting young Mamba to get out there and be the best guy in the court. Because I told you this is a Chris Paul coronation, and we're waiting for it. And Giannis is trying to interrupt that.
He is trying to interrupt that,
He's trying to interrupt that, but
at least at
um,
present.
for what we anticipate, this will clearly be the Chris Paul coronation in over the next couple of weeks. However, Giannis is doing a great job of trying to step up and show that he doesn't need a go-to move. He can be good just getting in the paint and staying in the paint and dominating the paint presence.
Oh, okay.
Dominate the
So
paint.
so you're flip flopping.
I'm not flip flopping at all. I specifically said.
Can you put your official flip flop on the screen for all the fans to see?
Oh, ain't this nothing?
You flip flop like that?
Ain't this nothing? I
Because
said
before he had no move. If he can't Eurostep past you, he's
I said
ineffective.
you're absolutely right. I said
You know
he
what
had
I'm
no
saying?
go-to move. No
Can't shoot
go-to
free
move
throws, but
is what
yet
I
he's
said.
put up 40 last two games, and now you're on his jock. I'm just saying.
No,
Flip flop.
I'm commenting
The
on
flip flop sign. Can you throw the flip flop sign up?
I'm commenting on what he's doing on the court.
The flip flops.
No, it ain't no flip flop. What are you talking about? Coming in game 2, he clearly has shown that he has no go-to move. Coming in game 3 and 4, what we've seen, excuse me, coming into game 2 and 3, what we've seen is him dominate the paint. What's the flip flop there? He still have you seen a go-to move? Have you seen the turnaround jumper? Ali Akeem Olajuwon? Have you seen him?
I haven't seen a polished, perfected move, but what we're
that
seeing
was
is
my
that
point.
he doesn't need that. But he doesn't need that to dominate.
Because he's playing your
And
son.
you were saying that he couldn't dominate because he was one-dimensional. He didn't have that other dynamic to his game, which is exactly what you said.
You're putting a lot on it. I said he doesn't have a go-to move. That's exactly what I said. And he's proven that he doesn't need it. He can play with he's good enough to play with Pat Connaughton outscoring Mr. Sometimey. What is his name? Chris Middleton. He's who's now that's who I was slandering last week, and I was telling you that he ought to be ashamed of himself for making over $30 million, and he's going to give you one good game every 4 games. So it's like, dude, what are you doing out here? Giannis should be mad at him for leaving him alone in the wash. He's the only one out there, and Middleton is not around. Finally, we saw Holiday step up in game 3. So here they are, a point down in the third quarter, just over 3.5 minutes to go. And here it is again, Giannis bringing it up court because these other bumps on the court aren't there to help him out. So they're going to force Giannis to go what is to do. They're going to force Giannis with his no move having self to kind of go at Ayton just one-on-one. Like what he's not AD. I'm not sure if, he's not AD. He's not KD. I'm not sure who Budenholzer think he is, but he's not one of those guys. He needs somebody getting the ball in the low post. That's what he's shown. That's what he has shown us.
A little hot and cold with Giannis. I understand.
No. That's truth telling, sir. Without you trying to spin, we see how you
spin. Hot and cold.
We see how you go hot and cold, and all of a sudden you bash a man the owner of the team, the coach of the team, all the 12 players on the squad, and then he makes some Forbes list, and all of a sudden you want to call in with all your apologies and
hey, come on, Cam. Are you back on that? I mean, I've already apologized to Mr. Ballmer publicly. Man. Come on now.
I mean,
why are you still trying to bring that up?
We see
that was water under the bridge.
Yeah, we see how you do. So
I thought I explained my position pretty clearly with regards to how I felt about the Clipper organizations, Mr. Ballmer as a whole. You know what I'm saying?
No, the fans aren't buying that, man. So you can try to come off with this corny crap if you want. The fans don't buy this. The fans ain't buying it.
The ninth person in the history of planet Earth to surpass $100 billion. Wow, amazing.
Tweet in your abrasive non-acceptance of this guy's foolishness, and also tweet it in, Instagram it in, call him. You want his phone number? I'll give you his phone number. Call him with this, so you can call him and text him with this BS right here. I'm not buying.
Well, Cam, I don't want to get into this crosstown rivalry right now. It's not the time, Cam. I was just saying congratulations on your accomplishments, and just wanted to say how I felt about the organization as a whole, and perhaps how some of the comments that I have made over the years perhaps have been misconstrued, and hopefully not. I just wanted to clear the air. That's all I was saying.
The fans, watch how quickly this changed right there. Watch how quickly this mindset changed. Kawhi had knee surgery yesterday. How does that impact the Clippers moving forward? Do you re-sign him? What do you do?
You re-sign him. You don't have a backup plan.
You re-sign him at the max deal?
Yep.
Injury
That's
and
what you
all.
do.
So you know this is with most players. Let's just say the average player. This is 9 months on the shelf, right? With most players, but the Kawhi is a special kind of cat where most players will tell you, I'll get back as soon as I can. Kawhi's going to tell you, I'll get back when I feel good and ready. So we're looking at a year from now. That puts us right here into NBA championship finals. Do you think Paul George is going to lead them to the NBA finals next year? Let's just say
Cam,
Paul
I have
George.
the
Let's just
utmost
say,
confidence in Mr. Ballmer and his resources and the team that he has put together and what he's going to be able to do in the off
oh my
season
goodness.
to improve the fortunes of the Los Angeles Clippers. And yeah, it was unfortunate that Mr. Leonard had the tear in his knee, but everybody around the Clipper organization, from what I've been hearing, is very confident that he'll be able to come back.
So we're just going to get no objectivity from you for the rest of anything they have to do with the Clippers. We're getting no objectivity. Everything is going to be you.
Of course,
you ball washing
objectivity.
Everything is going to be you ball washing Steve Ballmer.
I didn't say I wasn't still rooting for my Lakers. I didn't say that. I didn't say that within the crosstown rivalry, I didn't have a side that I was on. I was just saying if some of the comments that I had made previously sounded very derogatory, then I wanted to make sure that he understood, Mr. Ballmer, that that's not how I was trying to be portrayed. Now, with regards to the future of the Clippers organization, I wish them all the best, and I think that signing Kawhi Leonard is a big part of that. Now, whether Paul George can lead them to a championship by himself, no, I don't think that. I don't think Mr. Ballmer thinks that. I'm just saying, going forward, I think that Kawhi will be fine. He's always been very big on quote-unquote load management, and given the fact that he had surgery in July, puts him on track for April. We'll see if Paul George can get the Clippers to a 6 or 7 seed and interject quite possibly one of the top 5 players on the planet. Good luck to them. Good luck to the Clippers and the Clippers organization.
Boy. If this was only a week ago, we might get some truth out of this guy. But being it is what it is, Ballmer's recent achievement, it's all flowery roses and ice creams over here with this guy. I mean, the fans see right through this. Not only do our fans, the Voice of the Fans, who people who tune into the Voice of the Fans podcast, but anybody watching the show can see right through you, Mr. Cleveland, right through you. Mr. Ballmer's not hitting you up, buddy. Don't look for any gift packages or care packages in the mail. He's not
asking for any. He's not checking for any.
He's not checking for you.
All that I have asked for is that Mr. Ballmer understand that perhaps if some of the comments that I have made over the years have come off as somewhat derogatory, that he understands that it was all in good fun and really more competitive banter between myself and Cameron Buford than really, an indictment on what the Clippers can or can't achieve in the future.
Oh my goodness!
They could do a great many things. I mean, they could win
goodness.
championships potentially in the future.
Oh my goodness gracious! This guy
building a brand new facility, just for the Clippers.
Oh my goodness!
Sounds fantastic from what I'm hearing from it.
Oh my goodness! Okay, so we just get no objectivity, fans, from Cleveland when we talk Clippers. So you just expect that moving forward. Let's see if what he has to say about Lonzo coming back to the Lakers. What do you think about that? How does that tickle you?
Yeah, that didn't sit too well with me, really. No.
Why not? I mean, you kind of reunites him.
Because you don't gain anything at the point guard position. I mean, you gain a playmaker. They already have a playmaker in LeBron. They need a point guard that can shoot a little bit and understands the pick and roll. I don't know. I really think that Lonzo was that guy. He had his chance to be the LA star, and he blew that. So I'm not really ready to see the sequel, so to speak.
Okay, I mean, well, your guy clearly needs some help. Or do you pay him $50 million, or do you pay your boy Shooter $100 million? Which do you
Oh
do?
no, we're not paying Schroeder. The Godfather already spoke and said, "Hey, man, he's just not one of us, man." That just doesn't. This is not going to sit well with anybody, right?
Is this the same guy who turned his back on the organization and just quit? Surprised
After
everybody?
signing LeBron James, yes, same guy.
I mean, but he just up and quit. Like
After signing LeBron James, yes.
They had a game on Monday at 7:00. At 5:30, he just said, "I'm done. I can't do this no more."
It was a tough thing to digest, Cam, and yeah. But yeah, he did speak his mind, and he has been a Laker for 41 years. So.
Okay, so he's still able to don. He's still welcome in Staples Center, is what you're saying?
Yes, at all times.
Oh my goodness gracious! So, can he do any wrong? Is there anything? He
of course, he can do wrong. If probably not enough to not have his voice be heard. That would be hard to do.
So he could just up and quit leave the organization, just kind of hang in and.
Hey, look, Cam, why are you trying to pick at scabs? I don't understand.
I'm just trying to understand.
We're past that. We're over this. That was a long time ago.
Oh boy. Okay.
We've won championships since then together again.
No,
and
not
we're
plural.
all right.
You won one. Not
all
plural.
that I said. So a championship, right?
No, you said plural S. You put an S on them.
No disrespect, Mr. Balmer, but how many championships have the Clippers won?
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? All we have to do is keep talking to him, Balmer, and you see how it comes out. All we have to do is keep talking
Mr.
to him.
Balmer. I'm just saying. You see how he always entices me, pulls me into this.
Typically, when people say no disrespect, the next line is coming to disrespect, right? That's typically the next line that comes.
Just a factual, explanation as to what's happened and transpired over the years. The Clippers have never won a championship. The Lakers have won 17. The most recent one being in 2020.
That took all of 10 minutes, Mr. Balmer, for us to establish his real thoughts about the team, and it took all of 10 minutes. So that whole soliloquy, that 5-minute apology he tried to give you, thank you. I see. I told you understood it, and I told you it would be no time before
Mr. Balmer, I said no disrespect, and apparently Cam missed that part. Is the earpiece in?
Yeah.
Get the earpiece. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I said no disrespect.
Yeah, and like I said, as soon as people say no disrespect intended,
not people. Why are you lumping me with all other people? I've already said my piece, Mr. Balmer. So I'm just saying, in addition to what I've already said, no disrespect, but they want you. So.
Yeah. Oh, you see what I'm saying, Balmer? I'm glad we have this discussion and it lasts more than 5 minutes, so where he can ball wash you for 5 minutes long, and then you can see what the true dude comes out. I'm glad we had this conversation. Thank you for being a part of the show, Mr. Cleveland. Appreciate you. Talk to me about Team USA, man. Team USA, they finally got their win in Game 3 yesterday. I told you last week the roster was flawed. I told you that. The roster was flawed, no big man. Unfortunately, now Bradley Beal has a COVID situation. He might not be able to continue to play with the team. I got another question: do you expect? Well, first talk to me about Team USA, where they are, and are you concerned with them moving forward because they had the big 28-point win yesterday?
I'm not any more concerned than I was previously, and previously I wasn't that concerned. I always think that if the United States sends 12 really quality players to the Olympics, they should win. There are a few instances, but they're few and far between. I don't think this team is necessarily one of them. I think perhaps it's taken a little bit longer for them to find their cohesion than perhaps everyone would have liked. But third game, they blew out Argentina. I mean, you know, the the right the right cross from Nigeria and then the uppercut from Australia kind of woke them up a little bit, and I think they're going to be ready to play, and I think they'll win the gold medal as they usually do.
No problem, huh? So Bradley
I
Beal
didn't say
not.
no problem. See, that's what I think a lot of people aren't quite understanding. I think there will be some adversity with regards to getting there, but I still think ultimately at the end of the day they'll be the better team against anyone in the world. So I do expect them to win the gold.
Um, okay. What about you expecting to win the gold? Do you Bradley Beal not playing? That doesn't make a difference.
Makes a huge difference, but I mean, once Devin Booker kind of catches his breath after winning this championship, I think he'll be you know, a good supplement to kind of plug in, kind of plug and play with the Bradley Beal situation.
So do you? So you have a you don't have any reservations about Devin Booker coming off of a NBA Finals performance and whether it goes is going to go at least five, whether it goes 5 or 7 games. You don't have no reservation about putting him out there.
Oh man, give him a couple of days, man. He's a young kid. He'll be kind of riding a euphoric high from winning, a championship. I think he'll be just fine.
Um, okay. I was wondering. So, who else was on the championship, or who else is on the squad that's playing in the current championship? Is Devin Booker the only one?
I believe Chris Middleton and I get conflicting reports, but I believe Brooker Lopez was supposed to be on the team as well.
Hmm. Okay, so I guess Devin Booker is the most impactful. Chris Middleton, I mean, he's going to be he shouldn't go on the team. If I'm part of the team, I don't think I want to see him over there. But your boy Devin Booker's out here being dirty, throwing elbows and shoulders in the PJ Tucker. Looks like PJ Tucker has gotten under his skin, I should say. But it's been special for these guys. Cam Johnson has been really special for the Suns, like all series long. He's been stepping up as a role player and been more impressive than I think anybody's anticipated. What's your thoughts on that? As the Suns get ready to take a 8-point lead with just about 10 minutes to go.
I think in the previous rounds, Campaign had been the most impressive player, but I think you're right with regards to the NBA Finals. I think Cam Johnson has been kind of the most, or rather, the biggest surprise of their contribution.
Um, so no concern about Team USA. You expect these champions to step right in and play and not miss a step, huh?
I mean, give them 5, 6 days. I mean, give them a chance to get acclimated to the new
I
time
think they
zone and get
play.
their body adjusted from kind of playing those last 5 games. And yeah, I think they'll be fine.
I think they may be a 2 or 3. They may actually miss a game. Um, if there were to be a game 7, they might actually miss a game, 1 or 2 games, or maybe just one game in Tokyo by playing in the finals.
Mm.
I think that's correct. What do you think about Luca, Donchettes, and Candace Parker making the cover of NBA 2K22? I think they're obviously ahead of the game on this one. But what do you think about this achievement for these guys?
I like it. It's always good to see the NBA kind of push the envelope and try and capture a slightly different demographic than is traditional. And this certainly has an opportunity to do so. This is the first woman on the cover of NBA 2K, and then of course, you have your international influence as well with Luca. So yeah, you're going after a different market. Why not do it? Considering kind of the last 2 years, kind of what the NBA has gone through financially. Couldn't hurt.
Yeah, I don't think it could hurt. It's a weird combination to have Luca and Candace on there. Like I would think one or the other, but credit them both for their recent achievement here. Um, Out of all these trade rumors and potential maneuvers around, what's uh what's the one you think is best impactful for your Los Angeles Lakers?
Oh, come on, Cam. I'm not going to say the words. I'm too superstitious for that.
Why not put it out there?
No, come on. You already know.
I mean, Dame going to New York, or um, we
Dame
hear
going where?
we to New York. We heard rumors about him might go into Dallas. So to help out Luca down there, add a ball handler. Not sure if that how that will work, but they need to get Luca off the ball sooner than later, as far as or he's going to be stuck in his ways about needing and wanting to be the main ball handler. So, what do you think about Luca and Luca and Dame Dollar pairing up in Dallas?
Like I said, Cam, I'm a little bit too superstitious and perhaps a little bit too close situation to really, comment objectively. I think we know where he's going to end up.
I mean, we also heard Golden State this week.
Spoiler alert. I think you know where he's going to end up.
Golden State, he go back home.
No,
A lot of these players want to go home.
that's not where it's going to be.
That's a short trip down the street from here. Huh? You don't want to say, huh? It's okay.
Do
I know
not
you don't got
do
no
not want to
confidence.
jinx it, my friend. Do
You ain't got
not
no
want to jinx
confidence.
it.
You ain't got no confidence in your ideas. I got you.
Don't want to jinx it. I'm just saying. I know what I know. I know what I've heard, but I don't want to jinx it, man.
So you didn't hear nothing about Lillard and Donchettes play together.
Words. I mean, rumors. I mean, rumors are swirling like crazy. I'm just saying. When the dust settles, I think you know where he's gonna be. I think everybody knows where he's gonna be. I think he even knows where he needs to be. So it's just a matter of getting that done.
So when they signed Alonzo instead of making that move, I mean, is that you going to be even more disappointed in Alonzo and what he does? Because that's a ball.
Oh, for
That's a ball
sure.
brother.
If the Lakers end up signing Lonzo and lose out on an opportunity to land Logo Lillard, yeah, I'll be furious. Yeah, Rob Pelinka, yeah, your
Roger.
California privileges are revoked. Understand?
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. Well, we'll see how that's going to transpire, and it'll be interesting. As you know, there's a lot of rumors swirling around the NBA, the hot stove right now. A lot of rumors swirling around. We'll see how things are going to shake out. But the last thing I heard was I did hear the Golden State Warriors is trying to make a move for Dame to tie him with Curry, and that might be you might have Curry, Clay when he comes back, and CJ of their backcourt, a three-man, three off,
What?
three
What are
guard
you
offense.
saying? Come on. Which way are you going with this? What's going on?
CJ, Curry, and Clay, and Dame Lillard, and it makes up a four-guard rotation in Golden State. You didn't hear
Nah,
that?
man. No,
Okay,
no.
I'm just telling you what I heard.
That's not going to happen. So
That's not gonna happen. Oh, so you want CJ? You'll take CJ for Draymond, or you want the Dre? Excuse me, not CJ for Draymond. You want to? It's gonna be Draymond for Lillard, and then you get CJ paired up with Draymond up in Portland. That way, they finally get some kind of defense up there. CJ's allowed to shoot the lights out, shoot the ball game long.
The Golden State Warriors want Logo Lillard. They have to get rid of Klay Thompson. That's the deal.
No, that's not. What? That's not gonna happen.
Okay,
What?
well then it's not gonna happen, man.
What? You want Clay straight up for Dame?
I'm not in the Portland organization. I'm not pulling those strings. I'm
I
just
mean,
saying
so
if
that
they're making
how
that deal, that's what the deal is.
you want the guy who hasn't played in 3 years? How is that a deal? I mean, how did he equate into the deal?
How is Draymond Green for Damian Lillard a deal?
Because Draymond wants to get
Draymond Green is really good for the Golden State Warriors. If you put him on any other team, he would be like a problem, like a liability. He
no,
only his
no,
skill
no,
set is perfect for what they do. No one else.
no. He plays defense. He was arguably the defensive player of the year 2 of the last 3 years, right? So you put him on the court with Portland, that's they're automatically going to get better on defense,
Man,
and
come
then
on, man.
that allows CJ to do all the scoring that he
I'm
wants.
not gonna allow you to continue to go with these conspiracy theories, man, and jinx the deal, man. I'm not willing to jinx the deal right now. It's too close.
Nobody's jinxing the deal.
It's too close, man. It's too close.
Okay, all right.
It's too close.
All right, fans. So let's take a little break here. When we come back, man, we got a lot of NBA, NFL topics we're gonna talk about. We got Richard Sherman running around the streets of Redmond. We want to know what's going on there. Last I know, he was wearing the garnet and gold down there in San Francisco, but he's running around Redmond. I mean, I don't know what he's doing at 2, 3 in the morning and banging on doors and whatnot. But we're gonna talk about that. Um, we're gonna talk about Shane Waldron and how that's going to affect Russell Wilson. So we're going to talk about that and Lesean McCoy trying to he's ready to make a comeback. So we're going to get into these conversations uh, on the other side of the show, and we're also going to talk about top 10 fantasy running backs. Fantasy. We have to do this. We have to do this now because with the fantasy draft coming up in about a month. You know, um, fans. I hope you're writing these down because there will be no fantasy talk here in about a month as to giving you ideas away and who's hot, who's not, because somebody gets nervous when we talk about fantasy football. Somebody on the other side of on the other end of the line, excuse me, gets really nervous when we start talking about
Well,
fantasy
somebody
football.
at the under end of this line will be better than you this season, guaranteed.
You trying to put something on that?
That's put whatever you want on it, Playboy.
You trying to? I mean, I don't think you finished in front of me the last 2 or 3 seasons. What are you talking
Okay,
about?
well then you should feel supremely confident then.
Shit. Against you, Cleveland. Against you, the only thing you can't call your boy Bomber and expect him to pull you out of this one. I mean, he's not responding to your little phony apology and amendments anyway. But
Apology is not phony, Mr. Balmer. Don't let Mr. Buford steer you astray of what I was trying to say and the message I was trying to convey, Mr. Balmer.
this is so funny. Let's take a little break here, man. We come back. We're gonna talk about some NFL topics. Let's take a break right now. This guy, all of a sudden, he's Balmer's ball washer. This is hysterical. This is absolutely hysterical. I mean, I guess I would change my line of thinking too if I knew I was being ostracized by the 9 billionth or ninth richest man in the world. This guy.
The ninth person in the history of the world to surpass $100 billion. That's slightly different than how you said it, but you get the general picture, right?
This is funny. This is funny. Oh my goodness. All right. So we got NFL topics coming back. You heard about what happened to Richard, right? I didn't know. Him and the wife were beefing.
So yeah, go with your story because I missed the wife part.
Okay. Fans, thank you guys for tuning in to Voice of the Fans podcast. This is week 147 of the Voice of the Fans podcast. And if you just tuned in, you guys missed. Oh my goodness. You guys got to check out the podcast. Yeah, go back and rewind to catch this sniveling, whining apology, mere culpa that Cleveland put out to Steve Ballmer. You guys got to hear this. It's a whole bunch of trash, whiny trash that you guys got to lose. You'll get a kick out of it, man. I was in tears to listen to this BS. So you guys got to tune in to hear that. But right now we're gonna get into some NFL topics, man. And former Seahawk, former San Francisco 49er, Richard Sherman, running around the streets of Redmond. I mean, he got arrested on burglary and we don't know whose car. The car was somebody's car was found on an off ramp at 6 a.m. Ran up against the divider, the median there. Like, what's going on? What's going on with Sherman, man? That sounds like some. That sounds like a little bit more than a night out with the boys went wrong.
Cam, it is really too early to weigh in on exactly how the whole thing transpired. Let's let the legal system play itself out.
Oh boy, here we go. Here we go. You
let's
know,
hear both sides of the story.
You know,
he is not guilty. Until proven innocent. He is innocent until proven guilty. Let's see how the whole thing transpires.
You know, a car Richard registered to one Mr. Richard Sherman was found on the side of the road on an off ramp upon, sitting up on the median, right? We know that much, right? There's no trying to get to understand. We clearly want to.
Cam, we don't know who was driving the car when all that happened. We do understand that the car that is on the median is registered to Mr. Sherman. That's all we know right now.
Okay, the wife was at home with the kids. She was at home. She's saying somebody who used to live here doesn't live here anymore is trying to gain access to the property. Nobody was hurt. Made it clear to say nobody's hurt. Nobody was harmed in this process. The kids are good. I'm good. But somebody who used to live here, I don't know who could that be. Somebody who used to live at this property is peeking in through windows and trying to go through the back door to see if the back door that always stays unlocked. It's happened to be locked now.
Cam, again, you're reading a little bit too much into this. We don't have all the details. I know you're making insinuations, given what you're hearing from a one-sided story. We don't know all the sides, so let's not rush to judgment about all this.
Not rush to judgment. So we take it. We know. I'm telling you what we do know, and you want to wait and hear to what Richard Sherman gets in front of the mic. And say,
yes, I would like to hear the other side of the story. Yes.
So were they broke up as far as you know? Did she stay in Seattle while he was?
I was not that in deep into their relationship and what was going on and what was transpiring. So this is all news to me, like everyone else around the 206.
So I find that pretty peculiar. Richard Sherman, as we know, is from Compton, California. As I understood it, so was the wife. And they chose to put up residence in Redmond, Washington. I mean, I know it looks good up there, but my goodness. Over San Francisco. And we know Richard Sherman hasn't played for the league minimum in several years, right?
Oh, yeah, not since his rookie season, yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. So that's so he was arrested and denied bail. That's what we know. And everybody up there is trying to act like nothing happened. Is that essentially the theme?
No, everybody is tremendously concerned, disappointed. It's not a good look, Cam, by any stretch of the imagination. All that I am saying is that And I'm not even saying in Richard Sherman's defense. I'm just saying before we all rush to judgment, let's hear the other side of the story and kind of get a little bit better idea of what happened. Right now, obviously, the details of how the incident transpired not looking very favorable, man. Looks kind of terrible.
So the wife was
So
saying, "Who's that looking through my window?" Richard Sherman clearly don't have a key to the house. Like that sounds kind of fishy to me. Um, but nonetheless, let's see how things play out. It sounds like this might be the end of the line for Mr. Richard Sherman. Um, let's hope it was all there was legitimate reasons why the the car was pressed up against the guardrail on the off ramps. You know, um, and it wasn't no alcohol or drugs involved. Let's just say that, and we'll have hopefully Cleveland will have a better report, unbiased report for us next week. Let's see if we can get that out of them. Apparently Shane Waldron, went to the microphone and had some things to say about Russell Wilson. My question to you is, how much will Shane slow down Russell this season? And what do you expect to be the impact of the new offensive coordinator?
I don't think Shane Waldron is going to slow down Russell Wilson. I think it'll probably enhance some of his abilities and get him to be a little bit more effective and efficient as a quarterback. Now, I think that we all understand that, if Shane Waldron is successful, it's not like he's going to be around here for a really long time. This is certainly, quite the stepping stool to the next thing. And if you get Russell Wilson to a Super Bowl and certainly a Super Bowl victory, yeah, man, you're next in line to get a head coaching job for sure. So he'll take as much as he can from him, absorb it as much as he can, and hopefully it's a nice match and it's successful.
So you don't see this slowing down Russell. Shane says he's going to work with them and to kind of cater an offense built around Russell. But Pete Carroll has this philosophy where you give it to Chris Carson 32 times a game. How do you think that's going to mesh with Waldron and what he's trying to do when he says he's trying to unleash Russell?
Yeah, they'll work it out. Yeah, they've already talked about that. A nice run pass combination. They'll be just fine. They've already discussed that, and certainly the run will be an integral part of the offense. And there'll be some new bells and whistles around the other parts of the offense.
So I guess that's a philosophy you have to running it with the ball is a philosophy you have to focus in on when you don't have receivers that can get open and get their catch their amount of passes, right?
Well, they have two Pro Bowl receivers, and
Uh-huh.
in addition, they've added another receiver that they think very highly of. So we'll see how the whole thing transpires in training camp. But yeah, going in, they do have two Pro Bowl receivers, one with 1,000 yards and one with 100 catches. So they do both.
1,000 yards. You're touting 1,000 yards receiving in the NFL when they play 16 games. That's what you're doing.
Oh wow, really? Oh okay.
That's what you're
How many
doing.
of those were there?
How many what?
And how many made the Pro Bowl? I mean, I'm just saying they both made the Pro Bowl. So
No, no. But
two
I'm
two
saying,
Pro Bowl receivers, one had 1,000 yards and one had 100 catches. That's all I'm saying.
and you're touting a
Can you
thousand
name me
yards.
another team? Can you name me another team with 1,000 yard receiver and 100 yard catches?
I'll get back to
Excuse
you
me,
on
and
that one.
100 catches.
I'll get back that. I'll get back to you on
Yeah,
that one.
yeah.
But
Look that up.
what about Green Bay? What did their receivers do?
Did
Did
great. They were playing with the NFL MVP and Aaron Rodgers. So yeah, they caught a lot of balls over there. Devontae Adams went absolutely wild.
hmm. So you think the Seattle Seahawks were the only team to have 1,000-yard receiver.
I didn't say that. I said name another team that had 1,000-yard receiver and a receiver with 100 catches. Off the top of your head, you couldn't do it, so we'll see what Google comes up with for you.
Yeah, we're about to look it up. We're Pro Football Reference, buddy. Pro Football Reference, buddy. So we're gonna look at it and see what happened last season.
Did the Miami Dolphins have receivers with those numbers?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yeah. And I don't think that's saying much. I mean, you picked out one of the teams with the worst quarterbacking in the NFL to kind of
up and coming, promising prodigy in Tua Tagovailoa.
Oh, stop it! Stop it! So reception players with receptions. That's what we want to know, right? Who had 100 receptions? Tyler Lockett had 100 receptions. Let's see. What about Kansas City Chiefs? Because Kelsey had 105 receptions. Who else had over 1,000-yard receptions? Let me see.
So probably Tyreek had over 1,000 yards receiving, right?
I would guess, but I got
okay. So the most explosive offense in the NFL. Okay.
Tyreek Hill, yeah, he did have it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the most explosive offense in the NFL had that tandem. Anyone else? Or
we settle down now. Settle down.
Oh, I'm sorry. Take your time. I didn't want to rush you.
Settle down.
I know it's a process to kind of extract this kind of information because it's not that easily extracted.
We had DeAndre Hopkins, 115. Let's see who do you play with that might have had 1,000 yards. He was the only one. He was the only one. So we had two teams. We had two teams that were players that got 100 yards, 1,000 yards receiving, and 100 catches. Two players doing that. Okay, so they're one or two teams. Okay, big deal. Big deal.
Oh, and the other team being the most explosive offense in the NFL. Okay.
Yeah, big deal.
Just checking.
Yeah, I'm not sure that was just such a big deal.
Okay.
Okay, would you be interested in Lesean Mccoy? I mean, since you guys like to run the ball, and we know that, are you interested in having McCoy in your backfield?
No.
Or do you expect anybody to have him in their backfield?
No.
So his career is done, is what you're saying?
Career's done.
Is Richard Sherman going to get another chance? That's a question I didn't get to ask you. Is his career done?
Probably.
Oh no, that's funny. That's painful for you to say. I know.
It was.
I know it was. I know. You're gonna tell me, man. It's just painful for you to have this conversation. You over here look like you don't even want to discuss Richard Sherman right now. What's your thoughts on Bubba Baker being credited for being the single season sack leader with 23 sacks, surpassing Richard Strahan's 22.5, or what is it, Jared Allen's? Foreman, Jared Allen, Mark Gastineau, Houston, and Deacon Jones, who did this 2 times. They each was tied with 22 sacks in a season. So what's your thoughts on Bubba Baker being named or being credited for being the single season sack leader?
I'm assuming this is Bubba Smith from the Colts you're referring to?
No, Bubba Baker, what I said, Bubba Baker. In 1978, his rookie season, he had 23 sacks.
Bubba Baker. Wow.
Ooh. The Milwaukee Bucks just took a lead. Devin Booker drove to the hole and threw an alley-oop to Ayton that got blocked by Mr. Giannis Antetokounmpo. And so now Chris Middleton's dribbling the ball at the top of the key. Just under a minute to go. They're up 1 point, and he jumper outside the L, and of course it's bricked. But Drew Holiday fighting off Chris Paul jumps up and gets a one-handed rebound. Middleton has the ball again. He pulls up from deeper being L. It's another brick. And here we have Chris Paul driving up. Look like he's about to call a timeout. No, he's about to. Ooh. He goes to the hole and he loses it. Drew Holiday stole the ball from Chris Paul. It looked like he was going to, at some point, 3-on-1 break. It looked at some point he was going to pull it out and run some time off the clock. However, they just kept matriculating to the hoop. He passes it to Chris Middleton, who gets fouled. It looked like a foul anyway by Devin Booker. And the Bucks are right up right now, 103 to, Chris Paul goes to the hole, and he kind of gets tripped up. Holiday steals the ball. Or did they call a foul on that? Did they call a foul on that as the Bucks go up 99 to 103? I'm not sure if they called a foul. It looked like it ought to have been a foul. But I don't know. I'm not sure if they called a foul or they just went to the timeout. But it looked like it ought to have been a foul on Chris Paul. Or excuse me, not a foul on Chris Paul, but a foul on Devin Booker when Chris Paul got it looked like he was going to call a timeout, and he decided to cross somebody up, and he was going to create some space, and Holiday ripped him. Essentially, what it was. So that's a surprising turn of events. With them down by, they were down 2 points, or excuse me, it was 100 to 99. Excuse me.
So back to answer your question, Brother Baker getting the record. Don't know what to make of that, but they went back and got accurate stats.
That's what they're saying. Went back and got accurate
stats. That's all you can do is give him credit for his accomplishments.
So Mark Gastineau was actually on his list a couple times. He had 21. Devin Booker goes to the hole and he misses a lay-in, screaming for the foul. He's still screaming at the ref for a foul. They might give him a tech. Devin Booker races to the hole over Middleton, tries a one-handed lay-in. It was way off. Oh, no, not Middleton. That's Chris. That's Tucker, who's been in his draws all day long. Who Devin Booker is, I know he's so frustrated with PJ Tucker playing him. He's been in his draws all night long. So they fouled. They got the ball. Chris Middleton right now has 36 points. 36 points in this game. And the Buck he goes to the line with 20 seconds right now, 20 seconds on the clock, 20 seconds, 0.8 seconds on the clock. He drains the first one to give them now a 5-point lead with 20 seconds to go. Chris Paul looking frustrated, look like they can't wait to get back to Phoenix. And with 20 seconds on the clock, Chris Middleton at the line going for his 38th point tonight. And he drops it. Booker's going to the hoop. He could have stopped it at the 3-point line, but he decides to get to the hoop, and they make another foul. Cam Johnson fouls. Who was that he fouled? He fouls Chris Middleton again with now 13 seconds on the clock. It's a 4-point game. I don't know exactly what Chris Paul is screaming at the refs about. Was he trying to say he had the ball, or they had their hands on the ball, or what? Yeah, I don't. Let me see here. They're showing it. It really wasn't a foul. It was a kind of a touchy foul, but I think they expected him to foul, and maybe that's what Chris Paul's saying, that we didn't foul him. We didn't foul him, but the refs expected him to foul. So here we go again. Actually, Little questionable call. Usually the player step over foul line after step over the out of bounds line. Your boy goes for the deep three, and that's off. Usually the player um, step out of bounds before they pass it back in. It looked like Giannis stepped out of bounds and didn't really get that other foot off the ground. He kind of drug his feet to pass it back in. So like he was out of bounds is what what they were arguing about.
Mm-hmm.
But your boy Devin Booker takes a three-pointer with 7 seconds on the shot clock that it almost wedged between the hoop and the backboard. The side of the rim and the backboard. That's how off it was. And he went immediately to the bench to sit down. I thought he was over there soaking. Now he came back in. I don't know what he has tonight, but he's back in the game. Let's see how many points your boy Booker has tonight. This has been a weird game. These guys came back and tied up. Nobody I know had this being a tie game going back to Phoenix 2-2. So in tonight's game, Chris Paul has 10 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, 5 turnovers. Devin Booker. That's funny. I didn't see any of this. Devin Booker has 42 points tonight. 42 points, 2 assists, 1 rebound. I didn't see any of his 42 points actually. I saw he went 17 of 28. I saw his 11 misses. I did see that, and I saw all of his missed 3-pointers. He went 0 for 3.
That's not surprising, Cameron. That's not surprising at all. Really.
What's that?
Given the way that you feel about Book, I mean, you didn't see any of the. You saw all the 11 misses, none of the 17 makes.
I'm just saying.
It's not surprising.
He had 42
for 42
points
in his first NBA, finals. So,
man, wow. In this game, and on the flip side, Chris Middleton goes for 40 points. Giannis has 26, 14 rebounds, 8 assists. Yeah, but Devin Booker is not pleased. You can see it. He is not happy tonight. At least he returned. That was last game he had 10 points. At least that was a big step up from that game there. Drew Holiday. The thing about this game here, Pat Connaughton, 11 points. PJ Tucker, 0 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 5 personal fouls. 5 personal fouls. That's funny. Because
put Jay Crowder on him next game. It'd be all right.
They'll put who on him?
Jay Crowder.
On who?
On PJ Tucker.
Well, what's that going to do?
Push him around a little bit. Let him know, he's not the only enforcer out there.
Jay Crowder has nothing. All right, buddy. I'm sorry to interview. Oh shit, Cleveland, you there?
I'm here.
Thought I just closed down the show.
Nope, still here.
Yeah, my bad. All right, I was doing a little research there. So interesting game. Middleton stepped up. That was good to see. Good for Giannis to see that Middleton stepped up. This goes back to how does that change your look? I mean, I know we're talking about the NFL, but how does this finals change look going back to Phoenix, the best of 3, or does it go back to Phoenix? I'm not even sure. Is it 2-3-2 in the finals, or do they go?
I believe it's 2-2-1-1-1.
Okay.
With the new travel
So
package. So
how do you see this? Does this change your outlook? You still got Phoenix win this? You still got this sure. Devin Booker coronation?
Devin Booker coronation still. He just put the 42 on you. I mean, if he has to do more, he will.
He's going for 50 next game.
He has to.
Are you predicting that?
I'm not, no predictions. I'm just saying he's already shown you he can go for 42. If he has to go for more, he will.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see how things transpire. So yeah, get back to the sack list, man. Bubba Baker, they look back and Pro Football Reference gives him the stat. Strahan, man, that was always that sack that he got over Brett Favre was kind of a cheesy sack, right? Especially it was especially cheesy to be the record breaker, right? Uh,
Certainly was. Yeah, it was definitely given up
uh,
without question.
so kind of a gift from your guy, but up until then he had 21 and a half, so he did still had a pretty good season anyway. Jared Allen, Mark Gastineau, as I mentioned, he's on the list twice, man. He had 22. He's tied with four other players at 22, but then he also had 21, which was pretty impressive as well. Deacon Jones, though, the, because of the rule changes, this is only because of the rule changes. They don't show these all-time greats anymore, him being one. And I mean, dude, there's just some guys you could just look at. You don't have to know anything about their past. You don't have to know anything about their where they come from. You can just look at them, the bloodshot eyes, the chapped lips, the nappy hair. Okay, guy, go. you're good. Go on through. When he comes through, you you just don't want to
You
any
want no
alter,
parts. You want no parts of any of that, do you?
no any altercations with this guy at all. No. Okay. All right, man. You're good. You're good. You see him in line at the club. All right, you're good. I mean, he might not have on the right dress shoes. He might not have on an appropriate outfit. All right, dude. Go ahead, bro. Somebody else will so let somebody else handle that problem. But not only did he have that, he had the ferociousness. So the mind state, the oppressed black man in the 60s, angry at the world. All he was lining up against was white dudes, old white men who he hated. You saw all of that come out on the football field. From the head slap to the knees to the nuts to the knees to the helmet. This man was coming and giving you everything he had on every single play, no question about it. And the defenses feared him. However, there was nothing they could do about him. They couldn't get in front. They didn't want to get in front of him. They were worried about the head slap. So, okay, maybe I keep my hands out and my head up. Okay, but then he's slapping your arms away and forearm shivering you on his way to the quarterback. Deacon Jones, man. Until I saw Lawrence Taylor, Deacon Jones was the baddest defensive player. I think he was the baddest defensive player, man. That was out there. Uh, with all due respect to Mel Blunt, who we mentioned, the aforementioned Mel Blunt, Jack Lambert, Jack Youngblood, like those guys who were playing with no teeth. So Jack Lambert playing with a broken leg. Deacon Jones, man. Those films, it was just in the 70s and 80s, man. We saw the highlights when they played it to music, and there was no symphony that they could play that equated to what Deacon Jones was doing out there on the football field. Fans, if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you haven't seen it, go to YouTube, man. Look up Deacon Jones. They don't show the highlights anymore. Like this time of year, they're showing these highlights, kind of getting you ready for football season. Deacon Jones was a beast. What do you remember about Deacon Jones?
Just the ferocious head slap and in all of the NFL films, interviews that he always gave, it was all just about violence and just absolutely dominating the offensive lineman. I mean, he just exuded violence, basically, just wreaking havoc on his opponent. And I believe he's the one that came up with the term sack. It wasn't a term before Deacon Jones started doing it. And actually, it wasn't a stat, so they had to go back and kind of retroactively kind of go through all of his games to ultimately acclaim him the sack leader. But it wasn't even a thing before he was doing it. So
he was just so freaking ferocious, man. And watching him play was just so, watching what he was doing to these grown men. And again, it was just his era where the oppressed black man playing against these old white men, and he was just trying to take every frustration from his upbringing to his uncle's upbringing to his cousin's upbringing, and he was just channeling all that on a football field, and there was nothing they could do with old boy, man. Deacon Jones was an absolute monster out there on the defensive side of the ball, and I loved every minute of that. Every head slap, every wrist twist, every forearm shiver to the head, to the gut. I loved every single minute of it. And I just couldn't get enough of it, to be honest with you. And that's how I thought football, watching that's how I thought you were supposed to play on the defensive side of the ball. That's exactly it. Just in pure intimidating the guy on the other side of the ball. That's what I thought defense was all about. And we just don't see highlights like that anymore. Obviously, the rule changes have outlawed a lot. Like, he might not have been played 2 or 3 seasons the way he played it back then. Obviously, the games have changed, but them outlawing some of what he's did on the field was. I mean, you just don't see this anymore. I mean, the closest you're going to get to is Aaron Donald, but he doesn't do the head slap. He's just a beast of a man. You're familiar with Aaron Donald. I see you're wearing your Rams blue and yellow today. You're familiar with Aaron Donald, and I mean, Russell has a keen kinship with Aaron Donald. We know that, right? Yeah. You don't want to say anything else? Enough's been said. You know what I'm talking about. What do you know? We have Cassius Marsh banging on the Patriots again. I mean, he just can't keep quiet about his time with Bill Belichick, about in military-like precision that they run their players through over there. I mean, did you hear what he has to say this time?
I am sure it is something about an oppressive regime in which Bill Belichick was overly heavy-handed. Without even seeing what happened, I'm sure it kind of has that same kind of feel and flow to it.
You can get away from some stuff when you win, right? Like
I'm just saying. You asked me what did he say. I'm just assuming, given the Bill Belichick regime, that's kind of what that it was. That was kind of the gist of it.
You're not far off. But could Greg Popovich get away with snapping at the sideline reporters like he does if he didn't win?
Has anybody come back and said anything derogatory about Greg Popovich and how he runs his organization?
Well,
happens all the time in the Belichick regime.
We have one person who just said flat out, I don't want to be there. I'm not playing with you guys. And now, in fact, trade me. I don't think I'm gonna come back and when I'm healthy, I'm still not gonna play for you guys. As surprising as it was, as aloof as this individual was, he said, I'm out of here.
Okay, well, if you're talking about Mr. Ballmer's guy, I don't want to, go with that conversation. Let's get back to what we were talking about.
See,
if you're talking about Mr. Ballmer's guy, let's get back to what we were talking about. It has no relevance in our previous conversation and what we were talking about.
Well, you just said, has anybody came back and said about Greg Popovich didn't want to play with him? I mean, again, can you get away with stuff if you win, right? But you don't see who was the coordinator who tried to go to Denver and pull some of the same stuff. You see, he got fired, right? You see the guy up in
Okay,
Detroit?
well, I mean, what is your point here, Cam? Yeah, it's an oppressive regime over there. People know that, and this person is just being a little bit more vocal about it than others. That's all.
Has Cassius Martin been on a stat line that you've seen?
I mean, his
Have he have,
contributions. I mean, he's been around the league. He's been around for a minute.
has he done anything worth recognition other than is this his biggest claim to fame? Banging on Bill Belichick, the most winningest
Possibly,
coaches. What?
possibly,
You
might be
don't
his
know it.
claim to fame. Doesn't make it untrue what he's saying.
No, but you take it. Come on, man. You take it with a grain of salt, man. Dude, have you done anything? Or you probably need to stay under there and get ordered around and play under his dictatorship.
Okay, well, see,
Maybe you'd have a better
there you
career.
are falling right in line with your greatest coach of all time, your guy. I understand. Perhaps all the techniques weren't, all that groundbreaking and extraordinary. Perhaps sometimes they were just oppressive.
Are you talking about Bill Belichick oppressing players by giving them time and time again?
No, Cam, I don't know. I'm not part of it. I wasn't part of that organization.
Opportunity to
I'm
win
just saying
championships?
Cassius Marsh has some observations about his time there. And hey, man, let's not act like it's somewhat of a surprise that he has those type of, observations. That's all I'm saying.
Dude, if you're the third string backup center, I mean, the long snapper, I don't want to hear from you, to be honest with you. I'll be honest.
Well, then take his comments with a grain of salt and continue to move on.
We're moving on.
The way Tom Brady moved on from New England.
I mean, talking about they treat players.
The way
like
Tom
that.
Brady moved on from New England and just went, somewhere else and just won a Super Bowl first year there. That type of stuff.
Oh my goodness! I wonder. We're gonna get into it later on, but I wonder where they finish the season. Not their division, where they finish the season. We're gonna get to that, but before we get to that, let's talk. I want to know if Cleveland's gonna play fair this week and acknowledge any of his top 10 fantasy running backs. Again, fans, we got to do this now because it's going to get real competitive here in about a month or so. And we know his fantasy football knowledge is limited. So I'm actually this is not only an assist to all you fans, but I'm trying to assist Cleveland out here outside to identify some of the top fantasy football running backs this season in the draft. Do you have a list of your top 10, sir?
I'll give you 5, Cam. Give you 5.
What do you got?
So, obviously at the top of the heap is Derrick Henry, the bell cow.
You don't have your special teams guy at the top of the heap? I thought you have your special team guy.
Okay, is this my list or is this your interpretation of what you think I'm going to say?
I'm just thought you'd have your.
Okay, so it's my list then.
Okay, yeah, it's your list.
Cool. So Derrick Henry is number 1. Alvin Kamara, without a Drew Brees, I believe he's going to be a very productive back.
You really. In all seriousness, I'm not sure. I question that with Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston, whoever gets to start. I mean, without Drew Brees there, I'm not so sure. I understand he's a very good back. Don't get me wrong, but you think he's going to be top 10 with minus Drew Brees in the offense?
I think that we'll have to get him more involved more often. Yeah, he'll be a more integral part of the offense than he was previously.
Interesting. Okay, go ahead. Continue.
Feel the same way about Aaron Jones. We don't know who's going to be the quarterback up there in Green Bay, and if it's not the reigning NFL MVP, I think he's going to get more carries and have to be a little bit more productive.
Okay.
Got a cat named J.K. Dobbins out in Baltimore. His counterpart, Mark Ingram, no longer there, so that means more carries for him, more opportunities to get touches and do special things. So he's around number 4-ish.
Wow. This is go ahead. This is his rookie. This is his junior year, right? This is Dobbins' junior year, right?
This will be Dobbins' second year in the league.
Yeah, sophomore year. Okay. Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
Number 5, I got Jonathan Taylor for the Colts. I think with Carson Wentz coming over there, they want to give him a little bit of security. I think he's going to have a lot of opportunities to do some big things. So there's your 5. Stop asking me for my special lists.
Inconspicuously, you left off your special teams guy.
I don't know what your list looks like. I don't know what you're talking about. But let's hear what you have to say with your list and what you intend to do, my friend, and who your special running backs are.
Well, probably the number one guy is going to be your special teams player, your special teams phenom, Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, well, Christian Jackson McCaffrey is out there. And, I mean, until we get to a training camp on him, we don't really know what he's going to be able to do. So.
You can't even hide. You can't even hide that. You can't even mask the lies that you're telling right now. You can't even.
We don't know. We don't know what he's going to be able to do until he's got a training camp on him. So.
He's trying to, hey, fans, he's trying to pull one on you. He's not pulling it on me. I know the game. I understand the game. I'm really trying to help you fans out by identify some of these top matchups. But Cleveland's out here thinking, I want to get into his brain and I want to see what he's thinking. Cleveland, I don't care what you're thinking, big dog. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Okay, this is for the fans. But I know how you quickly went from he's going to be a special teams star.
That was 3.5 years ago.
To drafting him number one.
Time ago. We're quite a ways past that.
to drafting him number one.
It's not a secret that I have drafted Christian Jackson McCaffrey number 1 in multiple years back to back. So,
Okay.
Fans already know that. Of course, we don't know what he's going to be after the injury, so we have to see, a healthy training camp, before I can put him in the top 5. Right.
Well, speaking about after injury, another guy who's coming off his second injury, I believe, is Saquon Barkley.
Yeah,
he won't be in my top 5 draft pick. If I have 1 through 5, I won't be drafting him. Hell, if I have the first and the 10th pick, I wouldn't be drafting him. However, I do understand why people would draft him. Is because there's not a lot of talent there. They didn't have any running game without him. By inserting him in the game, they're going to run. He's going to run the ball. They're going to pass the ball. So it'll be interesting to see how he returns. But he's going to be up there. Another guy who I would draft immediately, if I had the number 5 anywhere in that top 5, is Nick Chubb, because we know injury. Well, he came back from his injury, right? He came back late in the season from his injury. So if I remember correctly, so he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. You mentioned Taylor. That was a good pick. Aaron Jones, with or without. I told you last week that I think Aaron Rodgers has been trolling us, everybody, all in this offseason. He's going to play. He's going to suit up and start game 1 with the Packers. With or without Aaron Rodgers, though, Aaron Jones is that guy. You guys better get him. If you have the top 6 pick, top 7 pick, draft Aaron Jones because he's going to catch it out the backfield. He's going to run the ball. The quarterback's best friend is what, Cleveland?
Strong running game, Cam.
And he brings the Packers a strong running game. Somebody that's intriguing. Somebody that's intriguing is very intriguing is Akers for the Rams. Now, when the Rams went to the Super Bowl, I mean, they had Todd Gurley, surprisingly, who's not on anybody's roster right now. That is so crazy. In 3 years, he's just on no one's roster and no one's radar. That is so bananas. But Cam Akers, this is his 3rd year, I believe. He's taking a spot.
Second year, Cam. Don't give him all those miles, man. Because I had him as a rookie last year, man. He was crap. He was garbage. Okay. He was doo-doo beans until the playoff game against the Seahawks, and he rushed for 156 yards, 2 touchdowns. It was kind of annoying, but yeah, man, I don't want to hear no Cam talk. Move on.
Yeah, doo-doo beans. Well, what I'm saying is, with the addition of their quarterback, Matthew Stafford, who I don't know, everybody, if you just saw ESPN's top 10 quarterback list, how they have him number 6 is, I think that's a bit. I know Sean um,
McVay.
Sean McVay is salivating on what he can do with him. I understand that. But that doesn't make him elevate him to the. He doesn't go from number 17 last year in Detroit to number 6 with the Rams. That it just the change of scenery doesn't change his evaluation that promptly. Um, but I think with McVay, Sean or Jared Goff was ever he had Pro Bowl numbers with a quality running back in the backfield with them. And I think the same thing, McVay has to be trying to duplicate that performance that they had in 2018. And with the quality running game, quality quarterback, they're going to have to work together in the mix there. So I think you could have a big season from Akers if he steps up. And as you say, last year he was a rookie. He just didn't perform well. So I think he can. I think he can be better. Mixon. I mean, there's nothing else to say about Mixon. He's playing. He's playing with in Cincinnati. He's playing with the rookie or not a rookie quarterback, but a quarterback coming off.
With Joe Burrow, and he got his guy back, the paper chase. I mean, he's got some weapons around there. He's got Boyd, but man, Mixon hasn't been healthy, right?
Mixon, he's been suffering some foot injury here, wrist injury there. However, we just talked about it. What's a quarterback's best friend? And not only is a good running
a healthy, strong running game.
But if you're able to catch it out the backfield, that makes you more.
Man, come on, man! But you got to be there to catch it out the backfield, right?
You're right about that. You are right about that. So they got Chase out there. They have the receiver. They had the receiver they drafted last year out there, and they got Joe Burrow back. It's not going to be all on Burrow. It's not going to be all on the passing game. It's not going to be all on Mixon. I think they're a good mix of everything makes that Cincinnati offense going to be pretty potent. So I like Mixon in that one. He's probably a round 2, maybe a round 3 guy, but I think you can't go through too many turns in the draft pick without passing up on Mixon. This is where I truly understand, Cleveland, your position on this. You don't want to give away too much. I'm about to do it now, fans, so tune in. If you're in a 10 or 12 man league and you have that number 7 through 12 draft pick, draft Najee Harris. Draft Najee Harris, and believe me, you're going to be happy with that draft pick. Najee Harris, Pittsburgh hasn't had a quality running game since they had Le'Veon Bell. Najee Harris, some people don't like him because of the school he went to down south. However, Najee Harris is the running back, is a bell cow back that the Pittsburgh Steelers need and will feed all season long. He's going to get 18 carries a game. Chalk him up for 18 carries a game. And I expect him to last the season. Najee Harris will be a steal in that 8 to 12, in that 7 to 12 draft pick of the first round. If you don't get him in the first round, if you overlook Najee Harris in the first round, you're going to be kicking yourself. Mark my words. I said it here, July 14, 2021. If you overlook Najee Harris in the late part of the first round, you will be kicking yourself.
Take him over Josh Jacobs?
You take him over Josh Jacobs, yes. Yes, he's going to get more carries than Josh Jacobs. So, in just using that comparison, the verdict is out. The verdict is out on Derek Carr or David Carr, whatever his name. You know what I'm talking about, the quarterback Carr. The verdict is out. They're still trying to give him a chance to prove, number one, that he deserves a salary. Number 2, that he deserves an extension. Number 3, that he is a man in Vegas now. So he's going to be still passing the ball. where and they're using Josh Jacobs as a compliment to him. In Pittsburgh, they're going to be running Harris and taking the pressure off of Big Ben. Big Ben, everybody knows Big Ben probably should have retired, right? Probably should have retired. Is he hanging on by a thread? That's what the smart people thinking. Big Ben, he has a lot to prove. Is he hanging on by a thread? Yes, and yes, and yes. Najee Harris is going to extend Big Ben's career to where Big Ben might be able to play next season, 2022, because of the production that he's going to get out of Najee Harris. That's what I expect. And I'll say it again. If you pass on him in the first round between the 8th and the 12th pick, 7th and 12th pick, you're going to be kicking yourself later on in the season. And then from everything I've been told, up there in the Northwest, they're not going to let Russell cook. Pete Carroll is stuck in his ways and trying to run the ball. So the only running back that Pete Carroll I think Chris Carson has pictures of Pete Carroll and his wife somewhere that they don't want to get out, or his ex-girlfriend that he doesn't want to get out.
Hey, Cam, slow down.
I think he has.
Cam. We don't talk about Pete like that up here in the 206.
I know that. I'm just telling you, I'm being real with you. See, you can't be real with the fans. That's a problem that we're seeing today, and that you've proven today. You have a problem being real with the fans.
I got no problem being real with the fans. I'm just saying, hey man, slow your real. You don't know if that man has pictures of Pete Carroll and his wife or Mister's doing some things, man. Come on now.
Well, why in the hell is he still running the ball? Why is the hell?
Because he's effective. Because he's effective. He's a hard runner. He's a hard-nosed runner. Catches the ball out of the backfield. He's gonna give you all he has. Chris Carson. For that reason, if you're in a bind, draft Chris Carson late in the first round, early in the second round. If you find yourself in a bind, go ahead, take him. He might do you some good. I personally will not, but he might do you some good. That's how I see the top. That's how I see the top 10 running backs in the game, and it's going into the season. What objections you got there, Mr. Cleveland? I don't really have any objections to what you're saying, Cam. I understand the Najee philosophy, and it makes a lot of sense.
Over there, by the way, I saw you taking notes over there too.
Makes a lot of sense, and hopefully that all that comes to fruition. I mean, I think you were reaching a little bit with
Akers. You didn't like Cam Akers?
I didn't like the Akers selection too much, man. You're reaching a tad bit with that. Thought you were going to fall back on some of your stalwarts, your Ezekiel Elliott's. I know you were kind of high on Etienne there, getting a lot of different touches, different ways to get the ball. Surprised you didn't kind of fall back on the Dalvin Cook train, So interesting. I think you threw a little tidbits out there. We'll see how it actually comes to fruition when it's time for you to draft. But I understand what you're saying. And you made some valid points on all those players. For sure.
Yeah, okay. So fans, stick with us next week. We're going to have the top receivers next week. And then we're going to close out July with the top defenses. And then that's all we can give you. Because I can't – outside of this, I'll be building Cleveland's team. And knowing I have to compete against them, I can't do that. I can't do that, okay? So all I'm going to give you fans next week is I'm going to give you 10 receivers to look at. And then we're going to look at some defenses. And then Cleveland, you're on your own. How about that?
Great.
Before we close the segment, Cleveland, let's look at the NFC South and give us a rundown of how you feel the division is going to finish. Now, this is going to be minus a Hall of Famer here, minus a couple Hall of Famers on two teams actually. And then one team is going to be in the shitter. I don't know how you have. I don't know. You want to go ahead and explain your seeding in the NFC South?
Sure, I'll go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the reigning Super Bowl champions.
That's a no-brainer.
Win the NFC South. I will go with the Carolina Panthers coming in second place with the resurrection of Sam Darnold. Sorry? Did you interrupt me? I'm sorry, what were you saying?
The resurrection of Sam Darnold.
Resurrection of Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold and a rookie coach?
It's not a rookie coach. It's in his second year. He had Teddy Bridgewater last year.
Okay.
Yeah. He's getting the return of Christian Jackson McCaffrey. We talked about him earlier.
Yeah.
The defense is very solid. So, yeah, I don't think it's a big problem for them to go second in that division. Third in that division is a team that just lost their Hall of Fame quarterback, which is one of the teams that you were talking about, New Orleans Saints. And they would either go with 30 touchdown, 30 interception Jameis Winston, or they'll go with the Swiss Army knife and Taysom Hill. So, yeah, either way that goes for a full 16-game season, not that optimistic.
Yeah, they're
And then
8-9.
the Atlanta Falcons, they're just old. So, yeah, they don't do anything well. And they just lost Julio Jones, their heart and soul. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, not a lot going on over there.
So we have the Bucks. Obviously, the Bucks are going to win that division. We agree on the Saints, just kind of 500, give or take a game or two. I have the Panthers stinking it up. Sam Darnold. I don't know what you see in Sam Darnold.
So I'm sorry. So you have the Atlanta Falcons coming in second in that division.
I have the Atlanta Falcons coming in second with their division.
Okay, yeah.
They're going to be rejuvenated.
Daniels times 3 on that.
What?
Daniels times 3.
What on the Falcons now
on the Falcons finishing second or better in that division, man.
Oh man, it's not worth Daniels, but we can think of something. We can think of something on this. So
we'll go Ivers. We'll go Ivers happy hour.
I mean, have you been inside Ivers yet, though? Have you been inside the restaurant? Inside, not the clams on the outside. Inside the.
Yeah.
That's a deal. That's a deal. The Panthers, come on, man. Come on. The only thing they have on the offensive side of the ball is, and they ran him to death last year, was Christian McCaffrey. They just ran the boy ragged. I mean, he ran the boy so much he got hurt weeks 6 through. They tried to run him so much he got hurt in week 6, and came back and trying to give him a couple games. I mean, come on, stop it. And Sam Darnold, like, what are you talking about? Like, get out of here. I don't see any. I'm not sure. I don't have anything positive to say about the Panthers, period. Other than they have Christian McCaffrey. Outside of that, there's no reason to watch anything the Panthers do. So the resurrection of Sam Darnold. What has Sam Darnold done anytime in the NFL?
He endured very trying times with the New York Jets. I think he had 3 different head coaches. At any rate, I mean, that's cool and all, but, what gives you all this confidence that the Atlanta Falcons are going to come in second in the division when you can't name either running back or their head coach?
I'm not concerned.
Off the top of your head.
So they're going to have the resurgence of Matt Ryan now that they have Kyle Pitts.
Okay, who runs the ball again?
And they have. I mean, they're going to run. It's running back by committee.
Running back committee. Okay, and who's the head coach in their offensive philosophy? What does he do?
It doesn't even matter.
Don't even matter, do it? It don't even matter.
Because he's
don't even matter.
He's not taking the ball out of Matt Ryan's hands. And if you didn't trade Matt Ryan, you're going to use your veteran quarterback. That's how I see it. If you didn't go, you had the opportunity to get rid of him and saying, okay, we're moving.
Oh, and you took his security blanket away, right?
But I mean, he's often injured anyway. So what are we talking about here?
Wow. Now you turn it back on Julio. Wow.
No, Julio was great. He's often injured.
Okay. Second place. Yeah, man. Up to $60. Is that where we're going with the happy hour?
The division is shabby. Okay, they're top heavy. As we agree.
I just want to lock it in. I mean, the mere fact you talking about the Falcons being in second place is just hilarious to me.
I mean, hey, we got Ivers inside. We got Ivers bar inside.
Ivers inside up to 60. Okay.
Cool. I'm good. That works for me.
Good to go. Write that down.
I'm putting it down.
I want to see it lost in the shuffle, man. Because this is just easy money, man. This is just easy fish and chips for me, man.
Falcons not winning division, coming in
second or better, yeah,
or better in NFC South.
Okay, cool.
For Irish bar. This ain't the outside bar. Just so you
No,
just so
inside up to 60.
Yeah, I'll take that one. That's a good
Yeah,
little
I'm gonna
dinner for me.
get them clams, man. I can already smell the clams, man.
No, man,
Ooh,
they got a nice they got fresh clams in there. They got a nice shrimp cocktail in there. I ain't
gonna
been
kill it.
inside. I ain't been in there in a while.
Gonna kill it, man.
I'm gonna
We're
eat there.
gonna kill it.
I'm gonna bring my brother down this time.
We're
Yeah,
gonna kill it. Yeah.
he's not buying you a beer either.
You're already bitter. It ain't even happy yet. It's funny.
Um, yeah. So okay, that's the division is weak anyway. I mean, as we
Division is
know,
weak.
yeah, as we
Absolutely.
know.
It's the
So
second worst division in football
so
this year.
Matt Ryan plays. He has any resurgence right there. They're going to be with. I mean, they might be able to contest for the division title because we know the Bucks is going to be up and down until playoff time comes around. So
Sounds good. Sounds good.
that's easy. All right, fans. Let's take a little break here. When we come back, man, we're going to do this week in history. Got some good stuff for you. And we're going to talk about Shohei Ohtani. I don't know. I know you don't want to talk about him. I know you've been avoiding talking about him all baseball season. You Mr. Baseball over here, but we're going to talk about Shohei. You're going to be forced to talk about Shohei. And then I want to know what your thoughts are on Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley. Who you got in this one coming up? We also had a little conversation with Manny Pacquiao over this weekend. If you haven't heard the conversation, go see Keith Thurman relived his fight with Manny Pacquiao. A little sit down with me at the Fox Studios over the weekend. So those videos are up for you to check out on YouTube. Voice of the Fans on YouTube. You see my conversation with Tyron Woodley. You see my conversation with Earl Spence, Manny Pacquiao, and Keith Thurman. Kind of his previewing the fight for us. So make sure you go to YouTube, check that out. And let's take a little break here. When we come back, we're going to talk about these fight situations. Even Conor McGregor. I don't know. Did you see that over the weekend?
Saw a little bit of it.
It wasn't much to watch. I mean,
Well, I mean, kind of. I guess I should say the aftermath of the injury. So yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna get into this conversation. Let's take a little break here and come back. Are you good?
Good to go.
All right, give us another 15 seconds. All right, fans. Thank you guys for tuning in. The Voice of the Fans podcast once again. Not sure I did this earlier, but fans want to thank you guys. I really appreciate your participation in the show. If you haven't done so already, please check us out on HNB Media TV. Make sure you subscribe to their page. The guys over there at HNB Media TV, they give you a lot of basketball content, give us some boxing content. Also, check us out on Voice of the Fans on YouTube as well. Every week you can find us on either one of those pages. And also, if you're on the go, check us out on Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Voice of the Fans. Talk to Alexa. Alexa, pull up Voice of the Fans podcast. Do this while you're cleaning, do some homework. You guys can just get some education on life, some education on football. You can even call Cleveland out on some of his BS, like his BS apology he did. Call him out.
That's not BS, Mr. Balmer. Do not listen to Cameron. All sincerity.
You can follow me at Voice of Fans on Instagram, or What's Good in Sport. That's the What's Good, the letter N, Sport singular on Twitter. Cleveland, how can they find you?
At Clevie Wonder on Twitter and Cleavon Steele on Instagram.
And you guys got to go back and listen. You guys got to go back and listen to how the show started off today with Cleavon sniveling to Mr. Ballmer, trying to take back all his Clipper slander, all his Clipper hatred. You got to take. He tried to take all that back, but some things is
I
on
simply
file.
tried to explain what was going on, Mr. Ballmer, and how it may be misconstrued. I just didn't want there to be any misunderstanding going forward between the two of us. So I just wanted to make that perfectly clear, and the show for that matter. I mean, as you well know, Mr. Ballmer, Cameron's been a big supporter of yours for quite some time, so you don't have to worry about him so much and his comments, because he's always been a very staunch supporter of the Clippers and Clipper organization, Clipper Nation, if you will. But I just want to say, if anything that I've said has been taken, out of context, please feel free to give me a call, hit me on Twitter, Instagram, and we can, straighten this whole thing out. That's all I was saying.
Ballmer, I can tell you, any Clipper fans, I can tell you, is this has no sincerity in his heart, in his voice at all, and don't even waste your time on it. I find it embarrassing for my co-host to be sniffling and
there's no sniffling here. I'm just simply trying to set the record straight going forward. That's all I was trying to do.
I'm embarrassed that my guy with the Rams blue and gold on is now all of a sudden trying to kiss up and snuggle up to Mr. Ballmer just because he achieved a status among the world's history of financial makers that now all of a sudden he wants to give him an apology to. I mean,
it's Ballmer, not all of a sudden. I've always had the utmost respect for Mr. Ballmer and his accomplishments and everything that he's been able to do. I am just saying that given that this recent fortune that he's been able to come into, I just didn't want there to be any misunderstanding going forward. That's all I was trying to do.
Ballmer, the one thing the two of you guys do have in common, well, I don't even know if that's true. Let me not even say that. Ballmer, I know you attended the University of Washington. I know you are a part of the University of Washington, and you have some financial deals within you're a fixture in the community down there in Montlake in Seattle.
As am I.
See, that part I'm not so sure of. I'm not sure that part I'm not so sure of, Mr. Ballmer. So if you want to,
Mr. Ballmer, I'm third generation at the University of Washington.
If you want to kick him out of that fraternity, Mr. Ballmer, and make sure
go ahead look that up.
Exile him from speaking of that term again, I'd appreciate that, Mr. Ballmer. I'd get a kick out of that because again, I've been to your speeches at the University of Washington. I'm not sure Cleveland has.
As have I, Mr. Ballmer.
I'm not sure
in your speeches as well.
I'm not sure of that. Anyway, nonetheless, Cleveland, Mr. Baseball. This week we've had a remarkable, not let me say this week, we've had a tremendous season by Mr. Shohei Ohtani. And I've given you 120 seconds every week to talk about the Major League Baseball, to talk about your sorry Mariners. And his name has not come out all season long. Not one time have you brought his name up all season long. I now am bringing up Mr. Shohei Ohtani because he's been playing outstanding baseball, hitting. He leads the major league in home runs, I believe, in pitching. If he continues on this process, he will have pitched over 200 innings of baseball, something that nobody's ever pitched 200 innings of baseball and led the league in home runs. Nobody's ever done this. Shohei has a chance to do this. But Cleveland, when he talks baseball, he'd rather talk about sorry Mariners who will not make the playoffs yet again for the 19th time, not 19th consecutive year. A team in their whole existence who never made the World Series. That's what Cleveland would rather talk about. So let's start by saying that. Why have you been so quiet about Shohei Ohtani all season long? Never mind, he goes and plays in the home run derby, starts the All-Star game as the number one pitcher on the American League, and then leads off batting on the American League. And yet you refuse to talk about him. Why is that, Cleveland?
Couple things here, Cam. First of all, the time that I get to talk about baseball is 120 seconds, so I get to talk about the Mariners. I use the time wisely to talk about the Mariners and their future aspirations of making the playoffs. Secondly, the Seattle Mariners have a better record than the Los Angeles Angels, so there's really not a whole lot of reason to talk about them at this point because their record's not that great. Thirdly, there are other superstars within Major League Baseball right now that maybe you can talk about just as equally. For example, the juniors, if you will. Before he got hurt, Ronald Acuna Jr. was a bigger star. Fernando Tatis Jr., bigger star. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., bigger star. And
Those
lastly,
guys are doing something. Those guys are
sure.
having a better season.
Sure.
A
Anyways,
better season.
and lastly,
Shohei Ohtani
has never
is
been
going
to fizzle out with regards to the numbers that he's putting up. He's not going to lead the league in home runs, and he's not going to pitch 200 innings.
We're halfway through the season. We're halfway through the season.
So what? No, we're 2/3 of the way through the season.
So 2/3 of the way for the season. I mean, this is going to be a pretty ugly collapse, is what you're calling for. You're calling
not necessarily. I'm just saying he's going to fade in what it is that he's doing. He's not going to continue the production level that he's on. He's not going to hit 64 home runs and have 20 games, 20 game winner. And even if he does, he's going to be playing on a team that's a losing team.
So why even count anything that Ken Griffey Jr. has done? Because all of his career he played on losing teams except for 1 year.
No, they made the playoffs several times while Ken was here.
No, I said several. Come on, take that. Maybe twice. There's no several times in there. Come on, stop it.
Okay, so they made the playoffs. 95, 97, 2000.
He made the playoffs when he went to the other team, to Cincinnati, and played.
What does Ken Griffey Jr. have to do with Shohei Ohtani? I mean, absolutely nothing, man. He's not who you think he is. I mean, he's putting up some big numbers right now. That's great. I mean, he's doing it for the Los Angeles Angels. Nobody cares.
Oh, is that what it is? Now he's doing it for the Los Angeles Angels. Nobody cares.
I mean, who cares?
I mean, this is historic feats that nobody's ever accomplished in baseball.
That's great, and at the end of the season, if he still manages to accomplish those, then great.
All right. So, what did you think of the home run derby and Major League All-Star game?
I thought it was cool. I mean, it's one of those things that probably gives the most excitement to fans in that exhibition type of atmosphere of all the other, skill competitions. So, yeah, it was cool. I mean, Lonzo winning it back-to-back is good. Liked the way Childish Bambino carried himself. Shohei probably ran a little bit of steam. Had a great home run derby as well. So it was exciting for the fans, and is what it is.
Should they have the timer in the home run derby? Should they have a timer, 2 minute many home runs you can hit in 2 minutes? Shouldn't they? Why not just say 30 pitches or something like that? I don't.
Yeah, I mean they tweak it all the time and they never really quite get it right. So it's hard to say exactly what the right formula or recipe is for kind of getting the home run derby, where it needs to be. This depends on how you feel about it. I'm good either way, really. But I can understand your argument with regards to the timer. It's kind of annoying, but at the same time, you want them up there for 45 minutes swinging. So,
no, I mean,
kind of
you get 30
kind of move it along, you know what I'm saying?
Maybe get 35 pitches and whatever you do in that amount with those pitches, that's it. I think then that might be putting too much onus on your pitcher, but hell, when you have the 2 minutes out there, that's more of a wear down than your guy, because you're not. If your idea is to simulate home runs, the batters aren't up there just every 5 seconds swinging their hearts out, when they just hit home runs. So in the game, they're not doing that. So in the derby, I mean, let them take a break. Let them take they don't even have time to take a deep breath or shake off the last pitch. You know what I'm saying? And I'm looking at Shohei. When he got in there, he hit his first 5 hits were base hits, right? Line drives to the outfield, where he couldn't step out of the box and shake it off and kind of get right again, boom, and come right back at it. He's
Feel
having
that.
to go work. He's having to work on his timer, like where he can't step out of the boxes, just swing, 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 and unless you get the first one or two right, I mean, you're in there just trying to fix it on the go, and that's kind of difficult to do. I'd say. I guess some guys they will do it, some guys won't, but I just think at least they should have the time to step out, shake their arm out, shake it off, and then step back in there and let's go back at it. So I say 35 to 40 pitches, and have at it versus the timer, or take that average. I don't know what the one kid hit 33. I only saw the first round, but so 33, but then that's with an additional couple extra bonus rounds, bonus minutes he had. So maybe you get 40 pitches, and that's it. 40 pitches for 40 pitches per batter. That accounts for maybe 10 kind of dead balls that your pitcher will throw, and then whoever walks away with the most out of that, let's go with that. I just think the timer is more defeats the purpose for the hitters than it helps the hitters. That's all I feel. Um, nonetheless, that's it. Did you watch Dustin Poirier outlast Conor McGregor? In UFC 264, it looked like Conor may be done. What do you think?
Did not watch it live. Did see the aftermath of the gruesome ankle injury, and yeah, I mean it's hard to say that Conor has a whole lot left on the tank. Of course, he is one of the UFC's ultimate showmen, and he can always make a fight until he can't fight anymore. But yeah, I think his best days are certainly behind him, and certainly nothing like a champion.
So, in reference to a career nearly being over, I had a chance to talk to Manny Pacquiao this weekend. Manny Pacquiao is press conference was he's getting ready for Earl Spence. So you heard the term. Was it Marvelous Marvin Hagler who said this? Tommy Hearns who said it. One of these guys said it's hard to get motivated when you're sleeping in satin sheets. Who said that term?
That's a Marvelous Marvin type thing.
So I asked, in a roundabout way, I asked Manny Pacquiao the same thing, like asking him about what his motivation for this fight is, or for fighting is, and he talked about a few different things, but then I asked him specifically that in a roundabout way, the same topic. I mean, we've heard that saying that it's hard to get prepared for a boxing match when you're sleeping in satin sheets. And I was asking him, what is his motivation? And you're gonna have to go to YouTube to find out his response. But it was cool that I got to ask that question and to hear what the boxer of today had to say about it. So check it out, YouTube, Voice of the Fans on YouTube. Just search Manny Pacquiao, and you'll see the conversation that we had with him. He addresses those specific comments. So it was pretty cool that we got some feedback from Manny, who's that was probably one of the most cordial fight press conferences I've been to or seen, because both the guys are real calm dudes, Earl Spence and Manny Pacquiao. Both of them were really calm and cool, collected, so there wasn't a whole lot of name calling or hostility involved. But it was just a really cool press conference. You just don't see that a lot in boxing. So check that out when you get a chance, fans. Voice of the Fans on YouTube. Go just hit up Manny Pacquiao. This was a bad week for Stephen A. Man, Stephen A. is kind of a bad month for Stephen A. He told you earlier that Devin Booker was the next Kobe Bryant, and you seen him jump all over that. And how do you feel about his comments about Shohei Ohtani?
I think that in 2021 they were certainly misguided. I think he was certainly tone deaf with regards to kind of not understanding the climate of the country at present, and kind of where his opinions would be taken. So I think it was short-sighted on his part. That being said, I think it is a little bit more of a challenge if the face of your organization and your sport doesn't speak the language primarily spoken in the country that you are performing in is a little bit of a problem.
So here on Voice of the Fans podcast, Cleveland is agreeing with Stephen A. once again.
Not agreeing with Stephen A.
That's what it sounds like to me.
What I'm saying is it is a little bit more of a challenge if that player doesn't speak the language of the country that he's playing the sport in.
So let me ask you this. You live in a diverse community.
I do.
You live in a city that has a lot of nationality, people from both. You have people from multiple nationalities in the city that you live in, right?
Yes.
I'm sure. I mean, I don't know this for certain. But on your way to the Kingdom, on your way to what do they call it now? Seahawks Stadium. What do you guys call it in the stadium today?
Lumen Field. It's Lumen Field right now.
What the hell is a Lumen? But anyway, on your way to the, I'm willing to bet, and if you haven't done so, shame on you. But if you haven't stopped in one of the international restaurants that are authentic international restaurants that are along the way, check it around the community right there at Safeco Field and Lumen Stadium, as you want to call it, T-Mobile Field. If you haven't been there, shame on you. But because you don't speak that language, does that preclude you from going into the restaurants and enjoying some good, authentic food?
Absolutely not. And I have done that on numerous occasions, and that's not even remotely the same thing.
I just want to ask that question. Because you don't speak the language, did that preclude you from communicating with anybody inside the restaurant? Because you don't speak that language, does that preclude you from learning about their culture and participating in the culture that they have?
No.
So then why if somebody comes over here, first of all, the guy, when he came here, there was teams from East Coast to West bidding on his services. Teams wanted him from north to the south, from east to west. Everybody wanted to be a part of the Shohei Ohtani experience. So why would you say that it inhibits his growth or development if he doesn't speak the language?
One of the ways that the star athlete in your prohibitive sport, whatever it is that they're talking about, grows the sport is by doing interviews and doing endorsements. It's one of the bigger things that comes with being the biggest star in whatever respective sport that it is that you're playing. I think that you would feel differently if Russell Wilson didn't speak English. Doesn't mean that he wasn't a great player. Doesn't mean that he wasn't a great person. But his opportunity to reach a greater amount of people is limited. I think that's what Stephen A. was kind of sort of trying to say in a very roundabout kind of way, but in the Stephen A. brash, abrupt, barbershop type language that he always tries to talk in, sometimes his message gets a little bit lost in translation. I think this is one of those times. I don't think that Stephen A. by any shape, form, or fashion is a racist. I don't think he was trying to say that Shohei Ohtani doesn't deserve all of the success and admiration and accolades that he's receiving. I think what he was trying to say is that it's more difficult if your best player doesn't speak the language of the country that you're the best player in.
I too, I'm not. Race doesn't play a part in my comments of this. What I think of race, it was not a racial statement. It was not racial. It was not racist. Either way, however you want to classify it, It was an ignorant statement. I would think of a man of Stephen A's stature who has these conversations, who's in and around sports on a continuous basis for 30, 40 years of his lifetime, would know better to say something so stupid than that. It's been a bad month for Stephen A. To say that Devin Booker is the next Kobe Bryant was remarkably dumb, number one. To now say that Ohtani, he does baseball disservice because he doesn't speak the language is
okay. Well, I mean that type of language
misunderstatement.
is a little bit more, yeah.
It's a gross misunderstatement.
That's a little bit more egregious than just saying
listen.
It's more of a challenge to do that with that type of player.
Listen,
you can say the same.
Listen, Yao Ming. So I listen to Stephen A. and I want to hear Stephen A. talk about basketball. Clearly, he's connected in the world of sports, but he's more connected in the basketball. That's where his expertise is. I want to hear him talk about basketball. When he starts talking about boxing, golf, football, even so much, I hate the term that he likes to use. I don't know football, but I talk to people who know football, and this is what they tell me. Okay, you don't know football then. So you're just regurgitating what somebody else has told you. Not even smart enough to use what they have and make your own determination off of what you've heard somebody say. That's when he says that comment and you hear it repetitively. That's what he's saying. But I'll put it just in basketball terms. Was Yao Ming any less popular in this country? Because
but Yao Ming wasn't the face of the league. He wasn't the LeBron James. He wasn't the Michael Jordan of the NBA.
Shohei's not either. Shohei's not either. We talked about earlier.
So maybe I'm misunderstanding the comments. Then I thought the comments were he was saying that because he was the face of the league and the best player, that's what some of the challenges were going to be.
That's where he was going, but Shohei's not the you gave me three players you gave me three players here 20 minutes ago that you said in your opinion you're more of a fan of baseball than I am, that you say would be more bigger stars right now currently today in baseball this season, today, however you want to put it, than Shohei Ohtani, right? I don't particularly agree with that, but you gave me three of them. I know for a fact that one of them, I think all three are not from America, are they?
Dominican.
Okay, how many of them speak English? I haven't Vladimir Jr. I would expect that he does speak English because he grew up in and around baseball here in the States.
All three of them speak English, so we don't have to keep speculating on that.
Does Tatis? I don't hear him on the microphone.
Fernando Tatis does Gatorade commercials. That's what we're saying here.
Okay, perfect. Again, I don't hear him audibly talking about. I don't hear him. I'm not following baseball, but I don't.
Yeah.
Are the commercials him hitting the ball? I think I can remember one where he's standing there.
Yeah. It's Fernando Tatis Jr., bro. He's like the biggest thing going right now.
Is he speaking? Does he hit?
His English is super fluent, man.
Okay. So fair. I see. This is what I'm not following.
You're not understanding.
I'm not following to that point. What I'm saying is, though, Yao Ming came over here with bigger than life, right? And if he wasn't the star, they were trying to make him the star because they knew that he had all of China following him. So in that time, the NBA is trying to cater to all of China because they know all of China is following Yao Ming. And this is evident when they had the All-Star game and the fans vote, Yao Ming would have 16 million votes simply because he's from China. And these guys over here, Shaq have 2 million, 3 million because he's over here in America, and that's how many Americans are voting. Where Yao Ming was clearly was he the face of the NBA? No. Was he the international face of the NBA? Absolutely. Did they cater to that? Did the NBA address that and cater to that? That made him no less as a star because he made international commercials because his English wasn't great. You follow what I'm saying? He wasn't He spoke English, but was it the first language? No. Was Ichiro Suzuki any less popular because he didn't speak the language? Because he walked around with a interpreter?
Hard to say.
Hard to say. Hard to say if Ichiro Suzuki was less popular in every city they went to. When he left Seattle, he went to New York. He ended up in New York for a spell. He bounced around the league for some time. He had his own fan base, not going to the mic, walking with his interpreter. His own fan base would follow him because of what? He had a draw. He had a Japanese draw at every stadium he attended to. What do you mean it's hard to say? You don't understand that? You don't recognize that?
That wasn't your question. Your question was would he be a bigger draw if he spoke English? That was your question, right?
I said no. Was he any less of a draw? Was the point?
Would he be more popular and more of a draw if he spoke English? Is that your question?
No. Was he any less of it? Don't change my words around. My question was Yao Ming any less of a draw because English was not his first language? And I switched that around and said, was Ichiro any less popular because he did not see? Everybody knew who Ichiro could do. Everybody knew that he can run out of ground ball. Everybody knew he had a hose from right field and can potentially throw you out at third base. Everybody knew that. He was not any less popular. Everybody knew that he was. Did he break the hit record? In fact, he did, but it's kind of, if you count his hits in Japan.
No, he tied the American League record for hits. Actually, I think he actually broke the American League record for hits. And he has 3,000 in the major leagues and 2,000 in Japan.
So yeah, if you combine both the hits, he did break the hit record. Nonetheless, my point was he any less popular? And I don't think he was. I don't think he was certainly not less popular. And that's my thing. And that's why I say that his comments were unequivocally and they were just dumb. And I don't think that took much education to figure that out. Like how stupid these comments were. And I would think that somebody of his I don't want to say prestige put you at a certain level where you just don't make stupid comments like that. But when this is what you talk about all day, every day, and you have enough examples, some of the examples I just give you, that to draw upon, you make smarter decisions. And I was ashamed for Stephen A. and the stupidity he showed. Plain as that. I just thought it was stupid. What's your thoughts on the Trevor Bauer situation?
Very complicated. Way too many things going on for me to comment on in any kind of way, shape, form, or fashion. Just whoa.
I mean,
you just have to wait for the dust to settle on that, man.
I mean, but so his time on the commissioner list just keeps getting extended. I mean, sex lies and videotape, huh? I mean,
man. I mean, this the indecent proposals and what you thought was cool and what was agreed upon, and how you come to an interpretation of who's right or wrong. It's a little bit too much going on for me right now from a distance.
It's a little deep. It's a little deep, man. But I'll just say this, and we can move on. I've had similar proposals, man, and that's just a turnoff to me, man. It's choke me harder, hit me harder. Like that shit's a turnoff, bro. Like, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to do to me? Like, I'm sorry. I want you to be. I'm
trying to put you in a very bad situation.
I want you to be happy. I want you to be happy. At the end of the night, I want you to be smiling. I want you to go to bed and enjoy a good night's sleep. But in no way am I trying to hurt or harm you in the process, and then get myself caught up too. I mean, this is a Major League Baseball player. Again, I've been approached with some weird situations, I'm not a major league anything. Um, and certainly don't have the resources that this dude have. And could you imagine the people that are in custody because of these weird situations, man? It was a 100% turn off to me to get when it said I like to be choked. Okay, I'm sorry. That's there's certain things I'm into. That's not one of them. I can't help you there. You're not going to enjoy being with me if you demanding somebody to choke you and hit you. Um, that's it. I'll leave that at that. I'll leave that at that because it is. There's a you. It's a touching on a whole lot of sensitive subjects, and it was kind of funny the other day. It was said down here, obviously in LA, and they talk 98% more Dodgers baseball than they do Angels baseball. Um, and it was said one of the guys is like, I can't discuss it. Kind of what you said. There's too many moving parts, and I refuse to discuss it because what one player you can ask if there's 31 baseball players, 29 of these baseball players have stuff in the same area that you don't want that they don't want to get out, and that's understandable. That's understandable. I would suspect that on a team of 30 major league baseball players, young millionaires, that they've been approached with some very awkward situations or some awkward encounters.
Oh, and Cam, get this one, which is why I always kind of wanted growing up to be a middle relief pitcher because you don't have to pitch every day.
Right.
They go to every town for 3 days, sometimes for 4 days. It's not like football or basketball or hockey, even where like, oh yeah, we had a game.
Yeah, in and out, in and out. No, you're there for a minute. You're there for a minute. So
these encounters, I mean, they can kind of come about a little bit differently.
Right.
It's not like a hey, what's up?
Yeah.
I'm out, I'm only in town for no.
Yeah. Or you can set it up. We'll be here for a few days. Bring
Friday through Monday.
Yeah. Man, it's crazy. It's crazy. So that's we're gonna have to keep our eye on that one, man, and circle back on Trevor Bauer's situation. I hope for the best, and obviously, if he's been nefarious in the process, and it's not anything consensual, I think he should be punished. But once that gets consensual, and he says he has tapes or not tapes, but text messages to support that it's been consensual, like. I mean, how are you punishing the guy if it's been consensual? Like,
and how do you determine it after the fact? I mean, yeah, it's again too many moving parts for me to determine. Yeah, I am not going anywhere near that with a 10-foot pole. What they determine will set precedents going forward. So all we can do is wait and see.
And I bet these guys are saving or deleting tweets. Either one. Either his teammates are saving some or deleting some. I mean, it's we know that's going on. Why in the hell, with all this Me Too, Black Lives Matter, the WNBA being the face of all this transition in America, why they do the WNBA like they did tonight, man? They had the WNBA All-Star game on a Wednesday night. It started at 4 o'clock Pacific time, 7 o'clock Eastern time. 2 hours. They try to cram it in just before the NBA finals. Like, that's kind of shitty, man. Like, I really, truly didn't know it was on. I go to the gym and I see they're announcing them, and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to get my little workout in, and the WNBA is they're about to have the All-Star game. I thought on a Wednesday night, like right before the NBA final, I thought that was rather shitty, man. For the ladies who have meant so much for society and kind of step up and have a voice and impact society the way they have. And one way I see it, like typically the day after the Major League Baseball All-Star game, no sports are really going on. And the finals just happened to be scheduled out till today, but the final schedule has been out for weeks now. They couldn't move this till tomorrow. They couldn't move it to the weekend. Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Considering that they are supposed to be looking out for the best interest of the WNBA, and they are partnered very closely with that, I thought the scheduling was a little tough, man. Just very hard for anyone to really even know that it was going on, and B, if so, really kind of get motivated or have any desire to kind of watch it, or kind of usually when you have those type of events, you want them to be kind of standalone events so that they're kind of on their own and like you say, going up against the NBA Finals, I mean, that's just not a good look.
Yeah. It would, I can understand it if they said, okay, we plan this, months in advance. But once you saw the NBA final schedule is going to fall on the same day, like, I hate to say the ladies need to alter their schedule, but the ladies need to alter their schedule, right? I thought it was shameful. I just thought it was shameful for the ladies, from the ladies' perspective. Rules are rules, says Dominique Dawes in regards to Sha'Carri Richardson missing the Olympics. What's your thoughts on that?
Same thing that we discussed last week. Feel the exact same way.
Yeah. It's hard to go against that. It is what it is. I think in a weird kind of way, this might work out better for Sha'Carri, as she'll she she'll miss the opportunity to win the gold medal, and that won't come around for another few years. She's young enough to where she'll be able to kind of make amends for that. However, will she have a much bigger name when the Olympics come back around? And how about next year in the World Championships? Is she going to be able to capitalize on her name even more so? Is she going to be able to be more recognizable? Is she going to be more recognizable in the times that she has to make amends for what's going on? What do you think? Does this potentially make her more what's the word? Not profitable isn't the exact word I want to use. Does this potentially make her more marketable?
I don't think so. Not in the world of track and field. Track and field has kind of a small niche to begin with, so you kind of have to be, Usain Bolt, Marion Jones, FloJo type of personality really to kind of flourish within that arena to begin with. And given the fact that she's not going to get a chance to win gold, so you can't really leverage off of that. And the only thing that you're really leveraging off of is the fact that she's an advocate for smoking weed. And that's not really what you want your athletes leveraging their careers on.
Not yet. Not yet.
Right.
not yet. So now they got a point there. Jake Paul, Tyrone Woodley, what's your thoughts?
Tyrone Woodley didn't beat that dude doing pole. Shame on him.
If he doesn't, you said?
Yeah.
So there's a size difference. Tyrone Woodley, I thought, was a little bit bigger guy. He's 5'7", maybe 150, 160, maybe. Jake Paul is 6'1", 200 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't get him, yeah.
I mean, did you see any press conference yesterday?
Saw none of the press conference. I mean, I'm not really a big fan of the YouTuber generation kind of jumping in the ring and fighting with real fighters that are either a little bit past their prime or just fighting for exhibition, and they still getting this prestige as if they're like really fighters. It's kind of like reality stars acting like they're like really actors and actresses, and they're not really. They're just on television. It's a different kind of a thing. So that's kind of the feeling that I get with these kind of fights. And yeah, man, the real fighter should beat the other guy that's not the real fighter.
True. I agree there. Um, although Jake Paul says he want to fight Canelo Alvarez in 3 years. He want to fight Canelo
Oh
Alvarez.
man, that sounds great, man.
He
In
said
three
he said
years after Canelo's a little bit past his prime, and right for the plucking.
yeah, he says
Probably wants to fight Manny Pacquiao next year, right?
well,
Yeah. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
settle down now, yeah. Okay. All right, man. It's I got your Shohei talk out of you. So let me go to the stopwatch and put up. You get 90 seconds this week, man. Let me go to the stopwatch. With my stopwatch, here we go. Stopwatch, 90 seconds and go.
Seattle Mariners are 2.5 games out in the wild card. I feel really good about this team going forward. Once they get a little bit healthier in the outfield, I think they're going to do some good things. I'm going back and forth whether I want to do that Daniels thing with Cam about the Mariners making the playoffs for the Dolphins. I'm starting to kind of lean in that direction. Can't wait for the second half of the season to get started, man. You're going to see some fireworks. I'm going to leave it right there. I want to eat the whole time. I'm going to leave it right there. Keep that right.
He said Daniels on if the Seahawks make the
The Mariners.
The Mariners make the playoff before the Dolphins. Are you kidding me? That means they'd have to make it this season.
No, not necessarily.
Because once once we get our guy flying in from Houston, that makes us a Super Bowl contender.
No, Tua's already in South Beach. He's
again,
training with Waddle right now.
That's what I said. So I was very clear when I said once we get our guy flying in from Houston, that makes us.
But your guy's already there. That's what I'm saying. Tua's already there. He doesn't have to fly in from Houston.
You know who I'm talking about. You know exactly who I'm talking about. You don't have to tell me. We don't have to tell the fans. You know exactly who I'm talking about. So we're gonna see what happens, man. And I wouldn't go way too long on a bet because Cleveland, you're not gonna win that one.
I'm actually gonna wait until about
You got about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, man.
I'm wait till about September.
Once training camp starts, I mean, it's gonna be.
Once training camp starts, what? Does the bet go away?
Yeah, I mean,
why?
You want to get a look? You want to get a look at us and see what's going on? That's what you want to do?
Oh wow, your confidence level just went down.
What are you trying to do? You trying to get
wow, your confidence level. Wow. Let me get out of the horn and call Steve Nelson.
Yeah.
You have no confidence in your Dolphins. Oh wow. Okay.
I got a lot of confidence in
that's a story for another time. If I got to make the wager before training camp starts.
Once our guy get off the plane coming from Houston, things are going to change big time. So that I'm just going to leave it at that. One of the fans, I want to leave you guys with this quote today. The more difficult the victory, the greater the happiness in winning. So Cleveland like to talk about my team hasn't won a championship in X amount of years, and he's making bets about us even making the playoffs, trying to compare us to the Seattle Mariners, which is which is absolutely pretty funny actually, because our team has been to the championship, our team has been to the Super Bowl. We lost Super Bowls, sure. We've been to the playoffs. I'm not sure the Mariners had that same resume. Anyway, the more difficult the victory, the greater the happiness in winning. And that is from Mr. Pele, if you know who that is.
I do know the great Pele is, yeah.
Fans, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for sticking and staying with the Voice of the Fans podcast. This has been week 147 of the show. We appreciate your time. Again, if you haven't done so yet, please go ahead and subscribe to the Voice of the Fans podcast on YouTube. Subscribe to the HNB Media YouTube page as well. You can find us on either one of those pages every week. I want to ask you also to please rate and review our podcast. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Tuned In, iHeartRadio, go ahead, leave us a comment. Let us know how we're doing. Rate and review our show. We appreciate it. It really helps us out with the algorithms. And then, as always, fans, I want to thank you for making our voice your choice. Have a good one, Cleveland.
Right on, bro. Talk soon.
Yep, later.